I didn't get a chance to play with this as much as possible. We're going to go ahead and start, guys. I'm going to show you what I'm doing, the parts that I chose, why I chose them, and then we'll get into this build real quick. So first things first, got ourselves this legit case. This is a Montech Air 100. It's a simple case. It's built for a micro board, nothing too fancy. It's got three ARGB fans in the front and one in the back, a couple of USB 3.0s in the top. Really legit case. I have not opened anything up, so this is going to be a surprise to both of us if I open something up and it's not the right part or nothing works. I definitely took a risk with this. I didn't pre-build this thing. We're opening up everything together besides the case because I didn't want to pull all the styrofoam out and all that good stuff. But Montech Air case. We're going to pair that with a Gigabyte B760 micro motherboard version 2 DDR5 support, LGA 1700 socket, along with a Intel i5 13400F. Now this isn't a full powered i3, or i5, excuse me. This is a little 65 watt powered i5. This thing can push a lot more than anybody gives it credit for. It's an amazing little CPU. Doesn't run hot, but man, this thing performs fantastic. We'll pair that with a Asus 4060 overclock edition, a little dual fan GPU, perfect for your entry level gaming. It'll run any of your Call of Duty, Fortnite, um, Apex Legends. It'll run those things in triple digits. High quality little GPU on a budget. We'll cool everything off with a little Hyper Halo Black from Cooler Master, a little single tower air cooler. Fantastic. We're also going to run a Team Group 1 terabyte SSD, and that'll be with 32 gigabytes of DDR5 RAM, also from Team Group. And to power everything up, we got our Thermalake Smart Series 700 watts PSU. Guys, I'm flipping pumped. You have no flipping idea how pumped I am. And to be fair, overall cost for this thing, if you want to build one for yourselves, this thing ran about $799, give or take about 10 or 15 bucks. It's not a super expensive build, but if you were to go buy one of these in the store right now, you're going to spend about 1,600 bucks, which honestly for a 4060 is a bit crazy. But you can build this same CPU, excuse me, this PC for about $800. So again, I'm flipping pumps. I hope you guys can hear me okay still. I'm a little nervous about this lapel mic that I bought. I hope it sounds okay. It doesn't come across too crazy. If it's too loud, please let me know, and I can turn it down just a little bit. And I hope the music's not too loud either. Again, just guys, let me know. Y'all are kind of like my first build, my guinea pig build. So again, I can't thank you enough for being here. Again, I can't thank Mountain West enough for what they did for me as far as sponsoring this first build. We do have a veteran picked out already, so a local organization, the town that I live, has partnered with me to find a veteran, and we've got one. So next week we'll be giving this PC away. I won't be able to record it though, just due to some privacy laws and things like that. But I will take a picture with him and I will post that up, so you'll get to see the veteran who gets it. And again, guys, with your support, we can continue to do this. I do have a GoFundMe link in the description below. So if you want to give to this, everything from the GoFundMe link, let me back up just a little bit so that makes more sense. All proceeds, all donations, big or small, in the GoFundMe link goes towards building high quality PCs. The goal is to hit that 1,500 mark. Right now we're at 250. But again, the link to that GoFundMe will be in the description below. Again, I want to take your questions. I want to slow down. I want to answer anything you guys may have, the parts that I chose, why that I chose them, and all that good stuff. There's also a link to our second channel. So right now what we're doing is I'm using the Maddmax channel, which is primarily video gaming, just trying to get you the whole focus of that channel is literally just to try to make you laugh, make myself feel silly, for us to interact with each other. We built a second channel called Mad Creations, which is a business that I started, and that'll be where all of our builds go to. So if you're watching this right now, I would ask you please go to that link in the description below to our second channel, hit subscribe, and at some point we will be doing live streams solely on that channel. Now, once we're done with this, I'm going to edit it up, make it nice and pretty, and it'll go onto that channel as well. But I want to use the foundation of Maddmax because you guys have been so supportive in this. especially when I announced that I was going to do this, guys. Y'all hit the polls, you hit the like button. You really encouraged me to continue to do this and not give up on it. So again, this channel only exists because of people like you and the encouragement that y'all have with me. So honestly, though, I know I'm doing this kind of more for myself and to give to the veterans. I can only do it because of people like you, and I just can't thank y'all enough. There's a few other links as well. We developed a T-shirt. Unfortunately, I wanted to wear it, but the one that I bought and got for myself, it shrunk like 2 sizes. And I'm kind of a big guy, so even though I ordered a large, that thing shrunk to like a small. So I redesigned the T-shirt. There's a link to it in the description as well. It says "one is too many" right here on the pocket, like right now where it says "Stay Frosty, Stay Mad." On the back has our Mad Creations logo. One thing about this T-shirt, guys, if you buy it today, buy it at any time from now on, all proceeds from that T-shirt go towards funding PC builds as well. So again, guys, thank you all so much. Go check it out. There's a link to our shop as well. Again, guys, your support makes these things happen. So again, thank you so much. So last minute, I'll remind you, if you're watching this on TV, man, pull your laptop out, pull your iPad out, pull your phone out, pull the live stream up on this so you can be a part of the chat as well. So again, guys, thank you all so much. All right. Anything else? Sounds fine. Thank you, Barbie. Fantastic. So it's not too loud. I'm looking at this little meter go, and I know once it goes into the red, it can sound real distorted. All right, first things first. Let's take this case apart. Pull that off as best I can. This is a sweet little case, guys. I'm going to try to keep all the protective coating on it as I can. Go ahead and just take that off. All right, we got our magnetic strip. Now, what I like to do first is I do like to pull the case out. I like to go ahead and prep it, kind of lightly install the PSU into the back. Go ahead and pull out the cables that I need. The current power supply that we're using in this Smart Series, it's not modular, so it's going to have a whole bunch of extra wires with it, but we'll be able to tie some of those up. If you want to spend a little extra money, I would highly recommend a modular one. That way you can get rid of some of the wires. But again, we built this on a budget, but I also built it with the ability to upgrade. We honestly, I say this computer, you can build it right now for about $799, roughly give or take 15, 20 bucks, whatever the market is at the time. If you wanted to build just a solely non-upgradable 4060 PC or one like it with like an AMD card, you could build one for about 550 to 600 bucks right now. But I built this specifically to be upgraded. So whoever gets this, let's say a year from now, they want to get a better GPU put in it. They want to put a larger power supply in it. They want to put a better CPU in it. They can do that without having to buy a case, motherboard, without having to buy new RAM, anything like that. So this is very specific. I want someone to be able to take it and upgrade it. Otherwise, we could have gone even cheaper motherboard, DDR4 RAM, even smaller CPU, smaller power supply. But I thought, you know what? If this guy who gets this loves gaming as much as I do, in about a year, he's going to want to put new things in it. So this will help him save money as well. So go ahead and do this. In the back, we have our zip ties. Oop, I have no idea where that went. This is why you're supposed to use these little metallic discs. Go ahead and pull the back. Another nice thing about this case, it's already kind of pre-set up for wires. It also has this sweet little fan controller in the back. So that's nice. So it makes things nice and easy. In this case, guys, was like 50 bucks. I don't know why people go out, spend $200 on cases. One, they're about 3 times this size, and they're completely open. And honestly, they're kind of pointless. I mean, I don't know. I guess that'd be the same reason why someone goes and buys a Lamborghini. There's no really reason for it, but it does look pretty. We got our first question. Barbie asked, how long have you been building PCs? In reality, it's only been about a year and a half. Um, when I built my first one, I was like instantly addicted. And it didn't take long after building a few more that I was like, okay, no, I love this. Like, it's like adult Legos, except there's like electricity involved. So what can I do with this, and how can I make a difference? And guys, ever since I was a little kid, most of y'all know I was in the Marines for about 9 years, almost 9 years exactly when I got out. When I was a kid, I always wanted to help veterans. I remember waking up in the morning and there was my stepdad, and we were watching Buckmasters, Realtree Outdoors, Whitetail, all those different hunting shows because that's like all my dad watched. And I remembered they would bring veterans on to hunt, like disabled veterans, and I always thought I want to do that. I want to help veterans somehow, and maybe one day I'll get to do that hunting as well because that would be cool. But after a while, my career took over, life took over. I got married. I have 3 daughters, and it just things happen. And then all of a sudden it clicked after running our channel for about a year, getting into PC building. I was like, no, I want to build PCs for veterans. And if you've seen that very first video I did, one thing about PC gaming is that it helps veterans get out of isolation. Guys, I may share a little bit of my testimony here today. I mean, I don't know. Real quick, I suffered from anxiety. I suffered from depression. And though pills can help, medications definitely can have their place. The greatest thing that goes against veterans is isolation. When we get out of service, a lot of times we go back home and there's just no one there to talk to. The VA's there, but I'm not going to lie, guys, and I probably can't say this on YouTube, but I'm going to say it anyway because I'm politically incorrect. The VA sucks. It's very broken. There's some great doctors in the VA. There's some great people in the VA. I've met them. There's sometimes things work really well, but sometimes things don't. And when things don't work well, it's usually at the wrong time. And isolation is one of those things. The VA doesn't do a very good job helping veterans cope with isolation in life after service, much less just the service in general. Like when you go through your transition out of the military, those services they offer for the last 6 months you're in, it's like, here's how you build a resume. Here's how you do a job interview. Now bye. But it doesn't prepare you for waking up the next day and not having orders. Waking up the next day and your brothers and sisters aren't there with you. It can be overwhelming really quickly. And for some people, it can get dark real fast. Something about PC gaming that's done for me is get me out of that isolation into some of those communities. And I thought, you know what? If I can provide the equipment, because not everybody can afford these, if I can provide the equipment and get them connected, just maybe we can save a life of a veteran who is just down on their luck. They're in isolation and they're in that dark place, and I want to help them with that. I went off on a tangent there, so again, I'm sorry. With that, we got our wires are pretty much already taken care of. I'm going to go ahead and kind of put the battery in the back. I am going to take out this hard drive tray because we don't need it. Most cases do have one. They kind of just get in the way. And if you can see it, I don't know if you can prop it up right now. Most cases will have a hard drive tray or a tray that's built for extra SSDs, like those SATA M2 drives, no SATA 2.5 drives. We're going to go ahead and pull all of that out now, if I can even get to it with this battery or get to it with this screw. That one's not wanting to come out. Now I got to pull the screwdriver out. Let's see. This thing might not want to come out. And what we'll do is we'll keep this with our stuff. That way the guy who gets this, if he wants to add a hard drive to it, he can. Those things are kind of obsolete at this point. I mean, they're great at being a cheap way to store videos or store a whole bunch of information. But man, like those SSDs are getting cheaper and cheaper every single day. At this point, there's really no reason to have a hard drive anymore. Set that over there. Okay. Do a little cleanup. This is something I don't do very often. I usually make a mess, and then I get yelled at for it. All right, so again, here's modular versus not modular, if you don't already know what that means. in its simplest form, modular means this whole cluster of wires is not here. Um, it's not there. So it'll have an extra set of wires, and you can plug in exactly what you need. But when you buy one that's not modular, you get this giant cluster. So you do got to look at it and go, okay, what do I need? What do I not need? Make sure the wires that are available for you, the ones that plug into the motherboard, the one that plugs into the GPU, go ahead and get those out. The ones that power up, if you do want to have an SSD or you want to power up your fans, like for example, this one right here is probably going to power up this little fan controller in the back. So we just got to look at it, see exactly what we need, and then bundle up what we don't need. This one did not come with the screws for the back panel, but we'll pull those out of the case. I hope you guys can see okay. I can zoom in a little bit if that helps. Though you're not really going to be able to see me and my big pretty face. Anyway, here we got the first wire it's going to plug in. This is your big 16 pin. I think it's 16 pins. I have no idea, man. I'm not going to try to count that. I'm from the South. So you got your CPU power cable here, and then you've got your motherboard power cable. So these two right here is what's going to power up your motherboard and power up your CPU. And here you have your PCIe, which is going to be what plugs into your GPU. And you've got a multi-pin here, so that way if you can put something pretty heavy on it. And this is going to be what powers up your SSD if you have one, say like a SATA 2.5 drive or a hard drive. This is going to be what powers that up. We're not going to be running one of those, so I'm not really going to need that. Excuse me, that's what this does. My bad, guys. All right, so we're going to put these off the side. I'm going to bundle these together just for now. These are going to be the most important ones that we need. I may need one of these others for this fan controller, but I can't really see. So it may actually come off of the motherboard, which would be nice. We built one that was crazy. I think it was actually Branch. We built his, and we messed up the fans a little bit, like we couldn't control them, and it was because of this dang fan controller and how it was set up. All right. What's up, Gary? What's up, Jules? How you doing? I'm gonna pull this back up. Can I do that, guys? There we go. Also getting thirsty. So I'm gonna pull one of these awesome things out. And no, it's not a Monster. I know I used to say that all the time. I kind of quit drinking Monsters. They're horrible for you. But I found this is my new liquid. It's called Liquid Death. It's like super expensive water. It's bougie water is what it is. All right. And right there. We got our screws to the battery. I'm only going to plug one in, and that'll give us a little bit of flexibility whenever we're manipulating this here in a minute. I say plug one. I'm only going to screw one in. I can't even talk, even on a live stream. All right, sweet. We're going to set our case off to the side. We don't need that right now. I'm going to set that right there. Now we're going to work on our motherboard. I'm going to drop this down so you can kind of see what I'm doing. Oh, this thing's pretty. Looking good, looking good. Susie said it's good bougie water. It definitely is good bougie water. Like so, guys. Like I'm trying to get healthier. I've been losing a little bit of weight. I'm trying to quit sugar. and I'm like addicted to soda. Like if you give me a Coke, a Sprite, Dr. Pepper, anything like that, I'll drink like freaking 6 of them in like 10 minutes. I love them, but I like the carbonation. So when I found these liquid deaths, it's basically all it is sparkling water with a little bit of lime, and I think it's got like agave nectar in it. It's not much. They're not really sweet. Satisfies that carbonation that I crave. Like I got to the point where I'm just drinking straight carbonated water just so I can feel the tingling. Okay, so we got our little motherboard here, our little Gigabyte. It's our micro motherboard. We're going to put in our LGA 17. So again, I chose this one specifically because of the socket. So that way later, if this guy's like, you know what, I want to jump up to an i7, he can do that without having to change out his motherboard. It's already DDR5 RAM. Everything is set up so this guy literally just has to plug and play a few extra parts, and he doesn't have to spend a fortune trying to build a whole new PC. So we're going to set that. I'm actually going to pull this back up, and we are going to use this box as kind of a support. We're going to set that there. We'll set our motherboard on top of that. And that way it's not getting hung on our little cloth sheet or anything like that. All right, we got our Wi-Fi antenna, some extra connectors, the back plate, which we'll probably go ahead and install here in a minute. Put all this off to the side. All right. First things first, we're going to install our CPU. We'll install our M2 drive, and we'll install our RAM and get ready to prep the cooler. So first thing. Now, a nice thing about these CPUs is they actually come with a cooler already, a really small one. They're not bad, but because I like flash, I decided not to go with it. But if you wanted to save a little bit of money, these things already come with a little cooler. I don't know what it's called though. I know the AMD CPUs come with it, and they call it a stealth cooler. And I'll show you real quick. So they already come with these sweet little Intel fans, and they're pretty good for what they are. They do exactly what it is they need to do. But I mean, who wants to be ordinary? We're not going to do that. Be real careful with that. I'm going to put you back. We'll set all this down behind me. Now, let's see. I'm going to try to zoom in on this, guys. All right. Good bougie water. How long were you in the Marines? And thank you for your service. Thank you so much, Barbie. Again, I did 9 years in the Marines. I was actually medically retired due to a neurological issue, which I hope never comes to fruition. It's called AVM, and for the most part, it can be minor, but it can get serious. There we go. So offside, put this here. So I was medically retired, and basically what happened was I was a crew chief. I was a door gunner on a helicopter, and when they found out about that, they told me I couldn't fly anymore because I was a risk for stroke and seizure, even though I had never had one. They were like, you can't be in the back of the aircraft and have the pilots flying and then something happen and all that good stuff. So as depressing as it was to hear that, or even basically be told that, I made the decision to get out, and I had an amazing sergeant major, and he told me, you know what, we're going to put you on a medical board. We'll see what happens. And man, blessing in disguise really is I was medically retired, so I get to keep really good insurance. We're going to pull this off real quick. And this cool little plastic black cover actually pops off whenever you put these on, which is kind of neat. Also, I'll turn it back. I don't know if I can actually zoom in enough to see it. Actually, I'll use right here, if you ever want to build one of these, there's a little triangle. It's right here, and I won't be able to zoom in enough for you guys to see it. And when you look at your CPU, you'll see a little triangle right here. So that helps you orientate exactly where it needs to go as far as putting this in, because the last thing you want to do is put this thing on backwards and then jack up your CPU. Because if you look on the back, it's got a whole bunch of little micro pins. Yeah, that'd be a bad day. It'd be like, well, maybe you can call Newegg or Best Buy or wherever you bought it from, Amazon, and be like, yep, it was damaged, it doesn't work, and you can get your money back. And if that works out, then you got to wait 2 more weeks before you can build a CPU. So we'll take this, we'll orientate it the right way, and this little plastic cover actually just pops right off, which is nice. Sits down, close it, just like that. Boom, done. And that's off. Our CPU is installed. Throw that crap on the ground. Next thing we'll do is the M2 drive, which is right here. Do you guys remember hard drives, like how big those things are? And the fact that you can get one of these, I think you can get them in like 8 terabytes of memory right now. And you can get these things that are like, they're called like little minis. And they're like half the size of this. We'll pull this out. Maybe pull it out. There we go. Slide that down. Pop this little plastic pin back in place. And there we go. She's installed. I hope. Actually, that doesn't actually feel. Make sure I got that in all the way. I do. All right. There we go. That was it. I just need to hear that little click. I'll push that down. Next thing is the RAM. Now this can get a little bit tricky too, because a lot of these motherboards will have 4 slots of RAM. If you have a single set, there's a special location to put it. If you have a dual set, the same thing. You'll usually put them here in these second and fourth ones. But I am going to go ahead and get the manual back out. I just want to check one more time just to be safe. But they're labeled A1, A2, B1, B2. It's supposed to be A1, A2, B1, B2. And typically you want to use the second ports. So you'll use A2 and B2. I really hope I didn't just make that up on the spot, and that's correct. But we're going to find out real fast. Or if you want to, throw 4 sticks in there. However, I have noticed if you try to use 4 sticks of RAM, you tend to run into some. A lot of times you'll run into some compatibility issues. You'll run into some performance issues. So I don't really understand the whole reason why that is. But my daughter runs 4 sticks of RAM in hers, and she hasn't had any problems. But I've seen people talk about it. But most people, you put in 16 gigabytes, and that's enough. If you're a gamer, a lot of times you want to jump up to 32, just because some games that are coming out now, they're pretty intense. But okay, let's go ahead and get our RAM out. I'll pull out this manual real fast for our motherboard just to make sure I'm going to put this in the right spot. Barbie says my first computer years ago only had 2 gigs of memory. Yeah, it's crazy how far and how fast we've gone in a short amount of time. So we're going to use this team create by Team Group. And now look, this isn't some fancy gaming marketing RAM, but it is DDR5, 6,000 megahertz. So it'll be able to push this thing as far as it can with really low latency. So you should, again, not the cheapest, but not the most expensive. It was actually on sale. That's why I bought it. Let's go motherboard. Pull that back out real quick. Where in the world did I put my motherboard box? Oh, it's right here. I'm so dumb. I'm literally building on top of it. Open this back up real quick. Guys, again, I can't thank y'all enough for being here, as well as for Mountain West for what they did. They sponsored the first build, so it's truly a blessing. I second guess myself too much, so I want to make sure I'm actually putting these this RAM in the right spot. And that's it, A2 and B2. Sweet. We'll stick them right here. You can only put these things in one way. Just be careful that you're looking for it because it's kind of subtle. So if you feel like you're forcing it, definitely back up a little bit. But the way these bad boys are so I can put it right here, the way they're orientated, you can only really put them in one way. You just got to make sure you are putting them in like that way's backwards. So here we go. Oh, I was wrong. That way's backwards. And you just listen for the clicks. Right. Awesome. Okay, so we have our SSDs installed, our RAM is installed, our CPU is installed. The next step is going to be kind of putting in our fan just for a second, our CPU fan. And again, with this sweet little Hyper Halo Black, this thing's going to be legit. A simple little single tower cooler. Kind of went everywhere. That's what she said. All right, now most of these coolers, they do come with thermal grease or paste already on them. Now, while that thermal paste is fine, I do prefer to use my own. We actually have some some Cooler Master, some Pro thermal paste. This probably actually comes with some by itself anyway. It does, Master Gel. We'll just probably end up cleaning off what's already on there and using that. The big thing is going to be just getting the right brackets, because most of these coolers are going to come with both an AMD bracket and an Intel bracket. A lot of times when you buy these things, you don't typically have to worry about making sure is it the right socket. Apart from you do want to make sure it can be supported by like if it's an AMD CPU, you want to make sure it is AM4 or AM5, so you can have more universalism that way. The new Intel sockets, Intel's been making the LGA 1700 socket for enough time now, where most of them are going to be default that way. So let's make sure we got the right ones. I'll put this piece on the back. Pull a little manual out here, make sure I'm getting the right brackets. Wrong one. We need this one. All right, so C and D. So this sweet little plastic piece, and these two right here are going to be the ones that we need. That goes on to hold the fan. We can go ahead and put these up. And everything is already in place. Now the one thing that does kind of suck is you have to actually put these in. I'm going to flip this over. Put it right here on the back. See if it's got an orientation piece for me or not. Don't think it does. There we go. And of course it falls down, even better. There we go, sweet, got it. Go ahead and take these brackets. Again, make sure I'm doing this the right way before I do something silly. What's up, Chopper? Thank you, I appreciate it. And guys, like, we're not gonna do, we built this small company, and I actually have the opportunity here soon. We'll go ahead and talk to you guys just for a second. This isn't going to be just specific to veterans. Now, that one is too many initiative is for our veterans. So the primary focus of our channel will be to do builds and giveaways. However, what I've started is I do have the opportunity, hopefully this summer, we'll be able to build maybe for a fire department as well. But this is going to be for organizations too. I fell in love building computers, so I would love to be able to do that for multiple people. So even you yourself, if one day you're like, you know what, I'd love a Maddmax built PC, shoot me an email. Let's connect and let's go over what you need, what you want it for. We'll go over the parts and all that stuff. Though primarily the mission of this channel is to build high quality PCs for our veterans. And I hope I said that right and it makes sense. Go ahead and get it back down now. I love this little camera. This thing is flipping sweet. Is that good, guys? I hope it's good. I'm like zoomed in on my crotch too much, Emma. It'd be kind of awkward. Kerrigan asked, how long does it take to build a PC? If I was doing this just on my own, it would take me about, I don't know, 40, 45 minutes to put one together. But because I'm trying to take things slow, I'm trying to talk to you guys and actually make sense. Because any of you who actually watch the gaming channel, you'll find out real fast that I say a lot of things that don't make sense. Again, trying to do that the right way. It'll probably take us, I don't know, where are we at right now on our live stream? We're about an hour in. I'm thinking probably 2 hours, maybe a little bit more. But ideally, it would take you roughly, go upside down. We'll put these in. Let's do this the smart way. Let's actually use the magnetic screwdriver. That is not going to work properly for me. I mean, honestly, I guess I could have built this computer, not do it live. But what kind of fun is that? Because there's all kind of channels on YouTube that'll show you how to build a PC, or they do PC builds. I don't know how many of them actually do things live. Well, that didn't work. It said nope. That nice and tight. Yeah, I'm just gonna hush my mouth. I'm gonna say too many stupid things. Okay. Get the orientation on that nice and correct. That should go in nice and easy. We'll peel that off. As you can see, this one though does not have any thermal paste on it. So we'll take our thermal paste here. Now, there are so many flipping ways. I'm gonna try something real quick, guys. Bear with me here. Preset 6. I hope that works. There are so many ways to do thermal paste. there's probably arguments online. It's almost like arguing the Bible. There are so many different ways to do it. But thermal paste is a lot like skinning a cat. There's 99 ways to do it, and there's really no right or wrong way to do it. Apart from you can do it too much or you can do it too little. Preferably, you want to put too much on there because it's got a lot less damage. If you don't do enough, you'll find out real fast when you start getting stutters and you notice that your CPU is running hot, and you've got to take it all apart, clean it all up, and do it again. But what we're going to do here is we're going to do dude, this flipping camera is like, it's got me all entertained. I'm such a simple person. Um, we're going to stick it right here, and all I'm going to do is just one single splotch. Now, I do know that I don't think this might be a single use canister. I don't know. We're just going to put a nice little spot about that big. Some people do an X. Some people do a whole bunch of dots. I found out it really doesn't matter at all. You just want to make sure you have some on there and you have enough. We'll take this, make sure this is orientated the right way, and we will slowly drop it down. There we go. Get it in there nice and good. Bingo. All right. And then just like you would do a tire, don't tighten down one side too much. The screwdriver's got this cool little feature that I keep forgetting about. All right, now we just go nice and easy. Come back in. There we go. Check them all one last time. Nice. Fantastic. All right, so as of right now, our motherboard is put together. It's going to be time to go ahead and move that over into the case. So hopefully you guys can actually see that. That was my only fear today, is that I couldn't get the camera high enough. Go ahead and put that up here. Let's see. Give myself some space. We'll keep our fan. I'm going to put it over here by our computer. Everything else looks good. And guys, once we're done building it, I will be able to sit down and actually talk to you guys. We will bring a TV up and we'll go ahead and set everything up. So I'll show you. This is the part where I got really nervous and where one of my buddies told me, he's like, are you sure you want to do it this way? And that's because we're going to turn this PC on for the first time. We're going to watch it post. So y'all are going to tell real fast. Y'all are going to be able to know real fast if I'm a complete failure, a fraud, or whatever, or if we did everything right and I got really lucky. Oh, Barb coming in $20. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. You guys are absolutely fantastic. I really probably can't stop and say it enough. That this channel only exists because of people like you. This initiative, though I know it's probably really cringy right now, we will one day have a studio to be able to do this, probably multiple camera setups. Again, I'm super nervous, first time doing it. But guys, I can only do this because of people like you. You guys are fantastic. Like, you don't understand. You don't understand how much you guys helped save my life in some form or fashion by helping me find this purpose in my life that I've been looking for so much. And that's, I've been wanting to help veterans. Didn't know how to do it. You guys helped me to see that. You guys supported me in it. Not just to mention the silly videos that we play, the dumb horror games, the survival games that we play that I try to act like an idiot. Again, it's all because of you that we get to do stuff like this. I'll do my best not to be sappy and all that. I really hate being that way. I'm sure some of you guys like it. Because you're like, look at this big grown man flipping cry. All right, pull our case back out. We're going to leave the back open and go ahead and put in our back plate. Make sure we orientate it the right way, which will be here. These things just pop on in. They're not really hard to put in. Go ahead and show you that. Definitely not complicated by any means. But somehow I'll probably find a way to make it complicated. Yeah, just like that. And again, I found a way, I guess, to make it complicated. Perfect. Okay. Let's see if we can orientate this in a way for you guys to actually see what I'm doing. Probably won't be able to, guys, but I'll try to talk my way through it. Now, a lot of people here, they won't have their batteries. And this is where modular really comes in handy, because you can shove all of these wires inside the case you're doing. You have a lot less to deal with. So when you're doing with a non-modular PSU, it can get a little frustrating. Just bear with it. The reason why I have them hanging out this way, though, because there's been too many times where I've installed a motherboard and I'll show you here. I'll just go ahead and pull it up. To plug in your CPU power, it's right up here in the top. A lot of times, depending on the motherboard that you buy, there'll be a gigantic heat shield right here, and it'll get in the way when you install your motherboard, and you can't actually get that wire and curled around it. So I try to do some things to kind of help me alleviate that. I don't think we'll have that problem with this motherboard today, because it doesn't have this big gigantic heat shield on it. I'm not going to take any chances. So we'll leave it here for now. Our fan looks good. And then one issue that I'm seeing right now that I didn't see before is there's a fan right here in the back, and the wires for it are pretty dang tight. So, yeah, thought I heard something. I'm going to go ahead and sort of unplug that. Oh, I think someone's actually here right now. There we go. Give myself some slack. Get that plugged in. All right, there we go. Got some room. Sweet. Disaster averted. All right, let's see how this looks if ever we put it here. All right, let's move it over a little bit. I know, guys, it's going to be kind of hard for you guys to see exactly what it is that I'm doing. But now we're going to go ahead and we'll lower the motherboard in, do it nice and easy. And you'll find you have some anchor points. First thing you do is you line up that back plate. Just make sure all your anchor points are set, and you're good. Now we just got to pull out the screws. Now, I will say this, sometimes when you buy a Gigabyte, now I've had some people tell me, why choose Gigabyte? I'm not sponsored, Zad. I'm not sponsored by Liquid Death. I'm not sponsored by Gigabyte or Asus or anything like that. I don't have any bias on the parts that I'm using. I have avoided MSI, and it's not because I've had any bad experience with them. It's just because when you look up reviews, you'll see a lot more bad reviews for MSI. Largely, that's probably because they sell more, so they get more reviews. When I look for a product, one of the biggest tells for me is warranty. If a product offers a greater warranty than another product, that immediately tells me that they trust their product more than the other company does. And I have found that Gigabyte, though again, I'm not trying to endorse them, or you go with whatever you want to go with. I've built with the Asus boards. I've built with ASRock boards. They're all good. They're good boards. But man, Gigabyte, when a company offers another year extra warranty, it makes the choice, or it makes the decision pretty easy. Let's see here. One thing they don't do though is help you. They don't like to help you with what screws go where. So sometimes you gotta kind of play with it. But we got our motherboard screws here, motherboard screws. And that's not lined up, so that didn't do me any good. Oh, I see what I'm doing. So I've got two spots. I've got two spots here where I need to install these sweet little motherboard anchors. Did not see that before. So we'll put these little things in. Oh, you got a mini. It was already set up for the mini ATX, or the mini motherboard, versus the micro. Get that back in. And just like that, we'll put the corner in. Done. Everything else is lined up nice and pretty. We do have enough room, so that's nice. Go ahead and put it back down. I'm probably going to do a horrible business practice here real quick. And Jules, make it look easy. It's not hard. Honestly, putting a PC together, it may look complicated. My daughter didn't like all the wires, because in a second you're going to see what I'm talking about. And it can look a little intimidating, but it's really not hard, guys. Like, anybody can do it. And I'm not really selling myself when I say that, because I would love to build one for you guys. Like, if one of you were like, I want a Maddmax built PC, that would be like the greatest honor ever, I think, to be able to build for one of you guys. On top of being able to build for these veterans, it would be awesome. The hardest part's probably the hardest part is waiting, because once you get it built, then you got to install Windows, and that part doesn't take too long. But I don't know. I don't like waiting. I'm also one of those guys, like, my very first gaming PC was a pre-built. And what's funny is, like, I bought it, I turned it on, and it said it needed updates. And I think it took 2.5 hours to update. And then when I built my very first PC, which is the one that I'm currently using on the channel, I think it took me 3 hours to build, just because I didn't know what I was doing. And then after that, it got pretty quick. Again, you can once you do it a couple times, you can put them together fairly quickly. It's doing it while talking. I'm trying to make it entertaining as best I can. All right, so now I'm gonna go around and tighten all these up. I kind of forgot what I was saying, so I'm sorry for rambling. Okay. I saw something that may give me a problem later. Maybe. I hope not. Oh, that wasn't good. Okay. All right. Our motherboard is installed. The next thing we're going to do is go ahead and I want to go ahead and plug in the major parts. I want to plug in the go ahead and plug in all the major components that I can, and then we'll install the fan on the CPU cooler, and then we'll install the GPU, and go ahead and get all the small things plugged in, and we'll turn this bad boy on. Go ahead and put all these little screws back up though before I make a gigantic mess with myself. And I'll say it again, huge shout out to Mountain West for sponsoring this first build. I don't know if you guys know anybody. They are located in a couple different locations in the United States. I mean, they primarily operate where we live now, but they do commercial cleaning. They do a fantastic job of it, but it's not just high-end residential homes. They go in and they clean businesses. How we were able to kind of partner up was the fact that they have contracts with some of the local VA hospitals here, or VA homes. And guys, these guys do a fantastic job. And when I came to them and told them what I was doing, and I gave them my sales pitch, I mean, they were all too eager to say, no, we love it. We want to help our veterans. We want to sponsor your build. So guys, I can't thank them enough, as much as I can't thank you guys enough, to go in and kind of get your first yes when you're doing a sales pitch. Man, I'm going to owe my very first build to these guys. So again, Mountain West team, thank you guys so much. In fact, some of them have sent me a little list of questions they'd like me to go over because they weren't really sure. They've never experienced computer building. So once we get ready to turn this thing on, I'll pull some of those questions out and see if I can't answer a few of them if I already haven't. What's up, Barbie? It says, what's the difference between building a regular computer and a gaming computer? That's a fantastic question. Parts is really what it is. I've built a couple office PCs as well. An office PC, you don't have to have as many fans because you're typically not running a graphics card or a high-end graphics card. When I've built office PCs, I typically go for slightly cheaper motherboards because they don't need all of the memory, all the space. I'm sorry. I think someone just walked by a window. I'm like freaking myself out, guys. You know, when I started playing horror games, I now see things out of the corner of my eyes, and it really freaks me out. So again, sorry for being distracted. Barbie, getting back into what you asked me. An office PC, you don't really need a GPU. You don't need it unless you're using your office PC for media production, editing, things like that. You won't really need anything. So you can really skip apart. Like most time when I build an office PC for someone, it's like $400, $350, $400. You don't need as much RAM. So really, you gotta assess your needs. You don't need as much power. So basically, kind of like think of it this way: you have your office PC, and then you have your gaming PC, which is like a PC that does bodybuilding. It's all the same components, just at a more intensity, a higher level, things like that. We're like an athlete. And I'm just rambling at this point. So I hope that answered your question. Someone's going to come on here later and they're going to watch the edited version. They're going to watch the live version later. Someone who's actually familiar with building PCs. And they're like, this guy's a complete flipping idiot. But that's the point. We're having fun, right? Okay, so next step, we'll go ahead and get everything plugged in that we can. Go back and do a little bit. I want to tighten this wire back up. Make sure I don't pull my dang curtain down. There we go. I'm going to try to tighten this wire back up. We now have that motherboard installed. I really like the fact that that Montech actually came with some slight cable management. That's going to make things nice and easy later, because sometimes it doesn't, and you've got a whole bunch of wires and it looks like a dang road nest in the back of these things. I'm actually really impressed with this case. I have seen much more high-end cases not come with as much stuff. This is awesome. First time ever using one of these cases. All right, so there's our battery. Or I say there's our battery. There's our power pack. I'm sorry, guys. Sometimes I don't make sense. Most times I don't make sense. So I can get that there we go, nice and tight. Okay, so first wires we need. I'm gonna put these off to the side. This is meant for like a SATA drive. There may be, yeah. So what I was talking about is right here. This is what actually powers up this fan switch. So this is like a gigantic fan header, so you can plug in multiple fans. So for this particular case, it's already got 4 installed fans. But if you wanted to add 2 more, say to the top, you'd be able to plug them in here, which would save you spaces inside your motherboard. And being a micro motherboard, it's already going to be kind of lacking in its space. And that is a really weird dust cover. I know that was completely random for me to say that, but I kind of, maybe it goes, oh, it goes underneath it. Okay, I think. Yeah, I've never seen that. Most of them have a divot in the top of the case. This one does not. Oh, there we go. Nice. Let's see, it felt weird. I knew something was wrong. Okay, so this little header here is powered by, I can't remember what these things are called at the top of my head. These. So what we'll do is we'll plug it in here. This will power up our fans. And Mr. asked, that was the issue we had with your case, and we put yours together. And that was all me, man. I'm willing to own up to that mistake. Is his case, and I don't remember which one we bought him. I think it was I don't remember. Um, we did that, and his came with one of these, but it didn't have a place to plug into the motherboard. So what happened is all the fans turned on, but you couldn't adjust them. So they were all stuck at like 500 RPM, and he noticed his computer started getting really loud. What was happening was his GPU, because he didn't have he has a really efficient computer. Like, we built him a really awesome efficient CPU, exactly for what he needed. But because those fans couldn't adjust, his GPU was doing the work. So his GPU would kick up and spin up, man, and that thing it'd get loud, and it did its job. But once we opened it back up and I realized what was going on, is that was my fault. I just assumed automatically that this header was already plugged into the motherboard, and it wasn't. So we had to go in and put a splitter in and actually put all of his fans on the motherboard so we could control them individually. This one should not have that problem. I'm looking at where these things are plugged in at, and we should be good there. But we will test it before we close everything up so we don't run into that problem again. Your exhaust fan's not a big deal. It can run at 500. It doesn't need to spin up. Its only job is to pull heat out. But you definitely want your front fans or your intake fans to be able to spin up depending on how much they need. Okay, this is going to be for your GPU. These little PCI plug-ins, and what I could do we'll do it before we install it. Not a big deal. So here's your gigantic pin. This is your main power source, or this is what actually powers up your entire motherboard. Pardon me for not knowing the technical terms. Again, I'm not politically correct, and I just don't care. I just know I got to plug this into the motherboard. But these are your little CPU power, and we only need one. I think we're going to take this one so we can stretch it out just a little bit. We'll run it in right through. That little fan wire is kind of in the way. Not a big deal. There we go. And then we will take, oh, I'm going to have to move these. No worries. This case is really cool. I'll show you this too, if y'all can see it. I hope you can. I'll turn it real fast and show you once I move these out of the way. So this particular case, it actually has these little rubber grommets here to protect it. That's really cool. A lot of cases don't actually come with that. So it'll make it look really pretty whenever we plug this in and we go to actually hide these wires. So let's see, we'll go on the back. We're going to plug it in right here through the top. We'll flip it back around. Show you guys what I'm doing. I may have to lay it back down though. Sometimes these can be a little tight. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to lay it down. So we can do it over here. We're going to take our plug in here for the motherboard. We'll plug it in right across this strip, and then we'll take our CPU powered up here. One day I'll be able to have this sweet camera system that like looks down and it'll be flipping awesome. But for right now, you got to work with what you get, right? See if it'll zoom in a little bit. Plug that in. Hear the click. Y'all probably didn't hear that. It was kind of quiet. And we'll take in the CPU. We'll plug it in. And that one didn't click at all. I could just feel it. All right. The CPU should be powered. The motherboard should be powered. Man, this is a really sweet case. I try to organize everything again before we keep moving. Don't want to lose that inside this case. But I need to make sure I keep these open just for now. So I've got these three. These are already pre-installed. So this is what typically comes with your case. So you've got your USB, your 3.0, and as you can see, it's split. So a cool thing about this case is it actually has two USB 3.0s on the top, which means I may actually steal this case and take it home and put my actual CPU in this thing, because that's nice. My case doesn't have that. We'll run it through here. It's going to go basically in the same spot. No, we won't. We'll run it through the bottom one. I think it'll look better if we do that. We'll run it through here. One second. I'm going to make sure it goes behind these wires. There we go. And that'll power up our two USBs on the top. We also have a regular USB 2.0. That's going to come directly off the motherboard. We also have, which is this one. So this will power your USBs that's up here. And then we also have our HD audio, which will power up the mic and the headphone jack. And we will run those through the bottom. And I'll try to point this out the best way that I can. I know I've already said this like probably 10 times. I'm really impressed with this case. So look, if anybody from these companies is watching this video and you want me to do one specific for you, I'll flip and do it. I'm not above that kind of crap. I'll sell myself out. Not really. I'm a pretty principled person. And this is another reason why I remove that hard drive shroud. Most people don't use them. There's plenty of room if you do want to use it. But in this case, we're not. And it makes a nice place to just kind of hide these wires, because you'll flip it around and you'll notice there's a nice black shroud. So you can't see them anyway. These I'm going to have to do. You're not going to be able to see me plug these in. I'll just show you where I do it at. These are really small. And I've got big, gigantic, fat fingers, like big sausage fingers. So it doesn't work out too well for me. But I can go ahead and plug in our USB 3.0. We'll go ahead and I'm going to move these. So what I'm talking about is there's 3 USB ports right here. I'm going to back these up and I'm going to come out of this little slot, so that way we have a lot less wire to be shown. And then the USB is there. The HD audio port is over here on this side. So we're going to come up on this side. Again, all that does is it allows you to kind of hide the wires, just to make the build look super fresh. Fire. We're flipping cooking. I'm using all this weird lingo that I don't know how to use. Flip it around here, and so I don't know if I can't zoom. I don't think I can zoom any more on the camera. I can try, and I'll show you again. Everything, guys, is labeled. No, I can't zoom any more than that. So this is your power switch. These are your power LED plus and minus, and this is your again, everything is labeled plus and minus. And when you look down in here, you will see what looks to be intimidating, but guys, it's all labeled. It can be small. This is really the only part that I ever really truly struggle on, again, because I got big fat sausage fingers. So it can get kind of crappy. But again, everything is it's all labeled for you. So now I will say, if you spend some money on like a really nice Gigabyte motherboard, one thing those guys do, not on this one, but a lot of times they will come in and they'll give you a bracket that allows you to plug all these in, and you just push it in at one time. You don't actually have to do them individually. So again, we'll go ahead and I'll put these in our LED. All right, those are plugged in. Got one more to go, and there we go. That's plugged in. The fun part, again, is cable management. So it's going to be trying to pull these out where things look pretty. There we go. This is the way that I handle wire management. There are some people who will sit here for hours trying to route these things in the right way, making them look nice and pretty like highways. And while that does look good, um, if something goes wrong, it does kind of suck. So I try to keep like wires together. That way, if I know, okay, a fan's not working, I can just pull out the fan cluster and just look at that versus trying to remove all of these things. But again, uh, Montech, with the way they did their case, they've already got a lot of things already taken care of for me. You can't see any of this from the front, so no one will ever see it. And odds are no one's going to come to your house, pop it up in a computer, and go, let me look at the back of your PC. Like, that would be ridiculous. Like, you should probably kick them out of your house, maybe kick them out of your life, maybe call the police if someone did that, because that's a little bit weird. But anyway, we'll go ahead and keep these out together. Everything looks pretty good. Oh, yeah. Sweet. Next step is going to be putting in the GPU. I'm going to ask you guys for an opinion on this real quick. How should we do the wire? And I'll show you what I mean in a second. First, set this off to the side. Pull this pretty little thing out. Now, this is honestly, I thought I was going to get a lot of heat for this because there is a lot of debate on this particular GPU. Not the Asus or being a dual thing, but a lot of debate in the fact that some people try to say the 4060 is not worthy. And maybe in the next year or two it won't be, because it is only an 8 gigabyte card. So after a while, you're not going to be able to do any kind of 4K gaming with this. But again, for a budget build, it's fantastic. And the AMD the AMD counterpart to this would be the 7600, which is another fantastic little GPU. I will say this: a cool thing about the AMD GPU is you can get the XT version, which is like an extra $50, and you go from 8 gigabytes of RAM all the way up to 16. And if that's important to you, maybe it's worth the investment. However, that particular GPU is never ever going to need 16 gigabytes of VRAM. So it's kind of just a way for them to say, hey, how can we sell more of these at a little bit higher price? I know, let's just add some more RAM to it that's not even needed. I would say this would be the perfect card if it came in 12 gigabytes of memory. But you know how these guys are. They want you to keep buying their products. But nevertheless, if it comes to playing Call of Duty, Apex Legends, Fortnite, really any game in 1080p, this card's going to run it. It's going to run it no problem. And if you find yourself lacking in frames, NVIDIA's what's it called, frame generation, it's amazing. It's almost indistinguishable from what it really is. But again, here we are. I've never actually opened this thing up, so hopefully it works. So here we go. A little Asus, small GPU, 2 fans, really efficient, but it's only a little 8 port, so we won't need all of what it comes with. And what I mean is, so when you buy a larger GPU, you would end up actually taking these together and making a 16 pin, but we don't actually need that right now. So the way this is going to look is, this is kind of why I want y'all's opinion, and I'm going to try to turn this thing around and we'll look at it. We can either go over the top or we can go below. I'm thinking, because the way this is split up, we should probably fasten that together like this and actually come in from the bottom. And I think it'll actually hide this wire pretty well if we do that. But I don't know. Let's look at it real quick and let's see what we can do. So here's your port, and right now it's closed. You've got one little pin, and you click it, and that thing is good. We'll also need to go ahead and probably remove this. So let's see about where we need to be. Now we have 2 display ports and an HDMI port. I'm going to kind of hover that where it needs to be. Look to see the ones we got to pull out, which it looks like it's going to be the top. So we're going to have to punch these out. Should be able to do. Yep, they're not too hard. It's kind of like a little tin can. Don't take much effort. There we go. A lot of times, some of your cases, all these will be individually screwed in, so you don't actually have to do that, which is nice. But we'll pull. Let's go ahead and do this before we mess that up too. We're going to go ahead and pull all this tape off. I don't want to try to do that after we install this, because I'll end up missing something, and then next thing you know, the person's playing, their GPU gets a little hot because they're getting intense. They're 6 hours in Apex Legends or Call of Duty, and all of a sudden their computer starts smoking because we left tape on it. That would be a bad day. Anything else? Take that off. There we go. Blue, you know so much. Eventually would love to get a PC. Hey, Blue, let's make it happen. The only thing I know that I do really wrong, guys, is again, I'm very politically incorrect. So I don't know the names of things. Y'all know that when I play games, I try to say stuff and I just can't do it, so I make up a word. Okay, let's set this off to the side. Let's see if I can't do it where y'all can actually see. Prop this up on myself here. Okay. Now for this, it can look again intimidating. Just be gentle with it, and you'll hear it click. You don't have to force it. It's nice and easy. There it goes, just like that. A nice, easy click, and that thing is locked in place. You'll then push this down. You can see it right here. I'll turn it a little bit. We will anchor that. So you have this nice little slide. This is really cool. So we'll put it down, you'll tighten it. What we'll do, we'll take a couple of those screws that come with it, and we'll stick it in. And they're actually the same screws. I've got a couple of them here, but we'll have them included with the case. It's the same ones that they use for the back door. So they're pretty easy to identify. They're easy to take off. That way, if you ever want to upgrade it, but that'll lock it in place. This is not a gigantic three-fan GPU, so you don't need to use one of those sag brackets or anything like that. It'll be perfectly safe. But okay, guys, that is installed, and like I said, the way it looks, we are going to go underneath. I'm not even going to give you guys the option because it's so short. A lot of times the GPU will come out to here and the power supply will be here. So you can come in through the back of the case over the top or come in below, but because it's a short little GPU, the answer has already been given to us. We'll come in through the bottom. I'll go ahead and zip tie that thing up so the wire stays nice, and we'll just come up and around right here. We'll plug it in. We'll put everything together, and this thing will be ready to be turned on for the first time. The hard part is doing it without twisting the wires, because you don't want to do that. Yeah, we're going to have to pull it out and do the original plan, guys. We're going to have to go through that other port. I don't want to break anything. I keep worrying I'm going to break something. And that's the last thing I want to do, is get all the way to this part and then break something. That would be absolutely horrible. So there's your benefit. There's your benefit of using a 3-fan versus a 2-fan GPU. The 2 fans are going to be short. Should just went with our original plan. I tried to get fancy with it. It didn't work out. Sometimes you just got to adapt and overcome. Okay. That is our build for right now. Everything's installed. I'm going to go ahead and put a couple of these extra screws in the back for the to hold the battery. I don't know why I keep calling it a stupid battery. To hold the PSU. I'm going to put you guys on a brief hold. I'm going to bring out the TV. We're going to set it all up, and then we'll turn this thing on for the first time. Guys, you forgot to tell me about something. It's all your fault. I'm blaming y'all. The one thing we didn't plug in was the stupid fan that goes on to the actual CPU fan. I'm sitting here spinning this thing around. I'm like, what am I missing? And then, yeah, we forgot to put the stupid fan on. So let's do that real fast before we mess everything up. Basically, you have your power cord and you have your ARGB control. So this thing will light up like a Christmas tree and it'll operate. We take it, show you what I'm going to do real quick. I knew I was going to make a mistake at some point, besides trying to get fancy with it. So you'll take it, you orientate it. We're going to stick that there. I personally like to orientate my wires back so you can't see them in the top, and they don't have to stretch extra long if you go through the bottom. So we'll run it right through the back and get these fancy little brackets here. All you got to do is stick in, like I was saying in the front. Just make sure you do orientate it the right way. If you have the bracket in the front, well, then you're going to be pulling air through versus pushing air through it. So basically, this is your pull. So I'm trying to figure out what it is I'm trying to say. Air goes this way. All right, there needs to be fancy little For people like me, they need to put little arrows on it so we remember. I did one time, and it might have been my case. When I bought my case, it had pre-installed fans, and I wasn't looking for it, but I happened to notice something didn't look right, and two of the fans were put on backwards. So if that shows you the quality control of the case that I bought. All right, we are on. We'll go ahead, and these plug in really simple. The same thing like everything else is labeled. So right here in the top, you can't see it here, so I do apologize. You'll have a CPU fan port, and then you'll have an LED strip. So you'll take your power, and what I like to do is I run it through the back. I usually loop it around one of the wires, especially your CPU wire if it orientates that way. That way you can pull on it in a second, but it kind of keeps it in the back. And you'll do the same thing with your LED wire. You'll pull it through. There's usually plenty of room to work with. You loop it back around, and that way when you get them plugged in, you got your two. You just pull, make it nice and tight, and then zip tie it down, and there you go. You've got your wire management. I don't know if you guys are. I might not be able to see this by showing you guys at the same time. So right here in the top, you have a port that says CPU fan. So that is, you want to make sure you plug it in the right spot. You don't cover that up because that is going to be what tells you on your motherboard when you get into your BIOS. That is this specific fan. You want this fan to run in its most efficient state. You can mess up a little bit with your intakes and mess up with your exhaust, but if this fan's wrong, then your CPU will not properly cool. So you definitely, out of all the plugins, you want to make sure you get that one right. This particular motherboard's got two right next to each other. It's got a 4-pin LED header and a 3-pin. We need the 3-pin. And we can pull that, get rid of some of the slack. We'll do some cable management here in a minute. White sticker comes off, so we ain't got to look at that ugly thing. We'll probably pull it just like that, and we'll tighten it down. Now we're ready to plug this thing in and turn it on for the first time. And what are you guys saying? Thank you, Susie. I appreciate it. Barbie, I wish we could see the actual moment when a veteran gets the PC, but I understand the privacy thing. Yeah, it's all going to depend on, the company that helps me with the giveaway, as well as basically the way that we run the giveaway is what's going to determine if I can show it or not. The organization that volunteered to say, yes, we'll find you a veteran, just due to some privacy laws with that particular company and the way they handled it, they just asked if we don't live stream it. I think they're going to put it in the paper, so we'll get to be able to snapshot, but I won't be able to like go in with the camera or anything like that. So when I do give it to them, I will be able to get a picture. I'll be able to post that stuff up on the YouTube channel. So guys, you'll be able to at least see where the PC is going to go. Again, I can't thank you guys enough for this. All right, so moment of truth. I believe everything is turned on. The computer is on. I didn't see any lights kick on there. I'm pretty sure I got this thing plugged in. I probably don't. We're going to hit the power button and nothing's going to happen, but it'll be all right. We'll figure it out. Oh, there it goes. Oh, it's all blue. It's all pretty. Now, the big thing is going to be HDMI signal. I don't even know if I plugged it into the right HDMI port. I do see a light on. I can see it just through the camera. Gigabyte, looks like she's posting. Also forgot that one of my children stole my testing mouse and keyboard, so I had to open up the one that we're going to give to this guy. So I guess it's going to make sure that we can his mouse and keyboard actually works. Should boot us into BIOS. Boom, there we go. So here is your BIOS. Let me see if I can zoom in just a little bit. Now, I know that can look complicated, and I hope it's clear. I know it's being a stream, so it might not be as clear as it should be. But what I want you to see is you can see right here, motherboard. It shows you your motherboard version. So if you ever want to update your BIOS, there's your motherboard. That's what you Google. All right, right now we're using BIOS version F3 Delta. I have the updated version, which is it's F4. And then we have our 13th generation Intel i5 13400F, 32 gigabytes of RAM. It's all right here. It's just a very, very quick information. Now down here, you see your RAM, and you've got two sticks. Team Group 16 gigabyte at 4800 megahertz. Again, Team Group. So the RAM that we have is 6,000 megahertz RAM. So what we're going to do is once we update the BIOS, we're going to run what's called an XMP profile, which will allow us to run the RAM at the speed that we paid for. Go to advanced mode and go down here to QFlash. We'll hit F8. So look, guys, I don't touch any of this crap unless I absolutely need to. But for the most part, you should never have to. Everything should run just fine. This is if you want to learn how to finally auto-tune your computer, you can do that, and you can mess with all of this stuff. But right now, we're just going to do this. We are going to run QFlash. Well, I'm not going to run QFlash because I don't have the BIOS thing plugged in. So let me do that real quick. I may have to reboot it. But as you can see here, current flash, it's showing you right here what the current version is. And it's actually fine if you want to run it. But here it is. Boom. F4 and hit next. We'll update the BIOS. It doesn't take very long. We'll hit update. There we go. It'll restart. We'll restart it back into the BIOS. So now it's been flashed. This thing is 100% updated BIOS wise. Once I get it home and get it put on the internet, we'll go ahead and do all the other updates. Basic steps you got to do. I would recommend doing this if you buy a pre-built because you never know how long that thing's been sitting there on the shelf of Walmart. That might be the first thing I would do is update the dang BIOS. And all you've got to do is Google your motherboard information. And then there it is, drivers and support, BIOS, and get the very next one. If you haven't done it in a couple of years, I'd recommend doing it in steps. But since we have BIOS F4 and the old one was F3D, it's perfectly safe updating it right then and there. Jules, thanks for hanging out with me. I appreciate it. Barbie says I need you to build me a basic computer that I can use at home. Let's flip and do it. Shoot me an email. We'll flip and do it. We'll sit down. Just tell me what you need to do, and we'll get you one together. Okay, so BIOS has been updated. The last thing I want to do, guys, is go back down here to the team group where it's where our RAM is, and we can go right here where it says DDR5. I don't know if you guys can see that. It might be a little blurry, but it's right here. It says DDR5 XMP booster. We're going to enable that. This one. We're going to run this profile. We now hit save and exit. Actually, we're going to turn resize bar on as well. Hit save and exit. Now we're going to be running this RAM at its full potential. It might take a second for it to start back up. We'll make sure it did it before we turn everything off, and that'll be it. But guys, that's it. That is our first ever live PC build. Again, we built an i5 13400F with a 4060 in it. We're going to give this away next week to a veteran. I believe it's going to be either Thursday morning or Thursday afternoon. I'll get a snapshot of it. I'll share it on the YouTube channel so you guys can see the handoff. Guys, again, I couldn't do it without you. Couldn't do it without my wife. Couldn't have done this without Mountain West. I appreciate everything, including the grace of my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, who, apart from PC gaming, is the reason why I'm still here. So I wouldn't do justice without saying that. I may lose subscribers based off of saying that, but I really don't care. Everything we do here is for the glory of God, to fellow and make our man better with each other. Iron sharpens iron. I think God put me on this planet to help our veteran, and that's what I plan on doing. And I can only do that with your support. So again, thank you so much. I love you guys. Stay frosty, stay mad, and I'll see you all in the next one.